Jacob Khachatryan is a criminal lawyer who will not promise you the world just to sail you up the river. With his experience and skills, you get a defense attorney that is truly by your side, defending you at every stage of the prosecution, including a jury trial where he's had over a 92% success rate for his clients. Whether it's a DUI, domestic violence, or even something as serious as murder, Jacob is the guy you need by your side. That's Jacob Khachatryan, attorney at law. Call 323-880-4000 for Jacob Khachatryan, criminal defense.
Thank you.
This is Maurice Jones-Drew, and you're listening to the What's Bruin Show.
You're listening to the What's Bruin Show, part of the What's Bruin Show network, with your hosts, Jake Berryfield and Mike Regalado, and occasionally some friends, talking all things UCLA sports. And now, it's time for the What's Bruin Show.
Well, hello, welcome to What's Bruin. I am your host, Jake Merrifield, and I'm not joined by anyone quite yet today. It will be an MJ edition.
The ceiling is the roof.
The MJ edition. When I bring on Mike in a little bit, he'll be remote again this week. We're going to have some headlines. We're going to have some non-revenue sports updates. Some big things going on with the old softball and some of the other sports. And I'll also talk a little bit about my trip to Nashville with the LA Grizzlies. And I'm sure that will be enthralling. And we'll just see what else Mike's got going on. Of course, this is the What's Bruin Show on the What's Bruin Show network. Thank you very much for your support. You can support the show at whatsbruin.substack.com for just a few bucks a month, a little more than
$2.
Or for just $2 a month, you could support us at patreon.com/whatsbruinshow or just whatsbruinshow.com. It's just $2.
$2.
And we thank you for your support. You could also listen to the show on YouTube. You actually watch a slideshow while you listen on YouTube. I got to redo the slideshow soon. I got a lot of new pictures to update it with. And you can also email us, whatsbruinshow@gmail.com. And on Twitter, Instagram, and Threads, maybe not Threads so much, but at What's Bruin Show is what our handle is. You can also get What's Bruin Show merchandise on the mylocker.net site. There's also a link on there for the greatest dumplings you'll ever eat in your life, and that is from none other than Miss Dumplings. That's Jody Lynn. She makes those dumplings and appears at local bars and whatnot, but there's a link in the description down below. Go ahead and look at that if you want to have the best dumplings you'll ever have in your entire life. Now, also, you can call the hotline. What do you think of UCLA's basketball's recruiting? What do you think of Deshaun Foster's job as the UCLA head coach so far? What do you think about Corey Close, UCLA softball, whatever it is? If it's about UCLA sports, go ahead and give us a call and let us know your opinion. Or, just whatever's on your mind. But that is 805-399-4WBS. Suck it, Reign of Troy. You may have also heard at the top of the show the ad for Jacob Khachatryan, attorney at law. Just between you and me, Jody Lynn, dumplings, Jacob Khachatryan, attorney at law. These happen to be two of my close personal friends. I'm not getting paid anything to give you their information, at least not at this point. I'm giving you the information because, well, yeah, they're my friends, but also because they happen to be the absolute best at what I am advertising them doing. And that's my own personal opinion. Take it for what you will, but that's spoken with conviction, people. Stuff that I know. There's a reason why you don't hear a bunch of random ads on the What's Bruin Show or things that you hear plugged into various other podcasts that are out there. If something's going to be promoted on the What's Bruin Show, it's going to be something that we believe in. So if it's the UCLA Blood Drive or a college-themed t-shirt company or Audible.com or my friend that hawks dumplings, they're very good, or my attorney friend. It's something that I truly believe in, probably much more than the run-of-the-mill host believes in Monopoly Go. Let's just say that. Not that there's anything wrong with Monopoly Go. It just gets tiresome. So that's not to say on some other platform we might not hawk some things, do advertisements, things like that. But on the What's Bruin Show, we're just going to be advertising things that we truly believe in, that we use, that we enjoy, and stuff that we think you will also like. So that's just my disclaimer. Thank you. And I guess let's get on with it with the BRO-filiated Headlines with Mike Regalado.
Bro! Hey, Mike.
Mike Regalado.
Big applause, Big Mike.
Iron Mike.
All right, so let's bring Mike on to the line now. Mikey, how are you doing today?
Good, Jake. How you doing?
I'm doing pretty good. You got the BRO-filiated Headlines. What's going on? It's kind of, I guess you got some stuff to talk about, right? We're not just sitting here for nothing.
It's interesting because even though it's the off season for the three big sports. We still have residual sports.
Wait, what are the three
finishing
big
up their
sports?
seasons.
Wait, whoa. Breaking news. Richard scratch. What are the three big sports?
You don't know the three big sports, Jake?
I don't.
Come on.
What
now.
are they? Tell me.
Football.
Okay, that's a big sport.
And women's basketball.
Okay, when I hear that, I just hear three sports that are descending in bigness. But I guess if that's where you're going to draw the line. All right, football and everything else. And then I guess we go to tiers, so that's okay. That's fine. That's okay, Mike. I'm not going to quibble with you. But move
Jake,
on.
this country is divided enough as it is.
I guess
don't
that's
need
true.
you bringing a wedge between.
I would like to
You're
avoid the
communist,
basketball
Jake.
shows for as long
You're
as possible.
communist, man.
Go for it, Mike.
But no, I mean, if anything, especially for college football lovers, college basketball lovers, like the NFL, we talked about this. I went on a bit of a rant last week. The NFL is basically 12 months out of the year now.
Oh, yeah.
Why can't these other sports, especially with the offseason, transfer portals, all that nonsense? But yeah, there is still.
Well, the NBA's
I want to get into the
NBA's done very good at making itself into a year-long sport as well. And by the way, Mike, I was just teasing, but this of any year, this is probably the first year you really could make there is a big three of sports, and women's basketball being part of it and men's basketball being part of it. It's just, but I think part of that is men's basketball has receded a little bit and women's basketball has jumped up like gangbusters. Both are, all joking aside, both are miles behind football as far as like popularity and traffic and all that stuff, even though we still love them all, right?
And no doubt, but and yeah, the revenue sports are still obviously across the board, football and men's basketball. But we're already seeing what women's basketball. I mean, we saw this years ago, Jake, and now the rest of the world is catching up with us.
There you go.
Can you imagine?
Mikey,
whatever.
You're a champion. All right, I'm sorry. Sorry to start with a little, stepping aside. Stay on target.
No worries, but stay on target, especially because another big accolade for UCLA, especially to rub in the face of those across town. UCLA won this year's Crosstown Cup in record fashion. The Bruins tied.
Go ahead.
It had tied a record-setting point total of 120 points, whilst the USC Trojans only had 70.
Wow.
Losing to the Bruins by 50 Crosstown Cup points.
Okay, I wonder what Raina Troy has to say about that.
I'm happy that UCLA won.
I'm happy that UCLA won.
Thanks, guys. I really appreciate that.
Thanks, dudes. I would think that there would probably be more crickets at this time, but anyway.
Oh, no, that's what they said. I called them before the show and got their official comment. What do you think about UCLA's victory in this Crosstown Cup?
Nice.
Thing? Yeah, that's what they're doing. And then I called Gary Parrish and said, hey, what do you have to say about that, Gary?
UCLA. UCLA, fight.
And then I called Petros Papadakis and I said, hey, what do you think about UCLA winning the, what is it called? The Crosstown Cup, whatever. You know what he said? Start farting.
What?
Fight!
Go Bruins!
That wasn't the fart one. That was just his cheer. Mikey, that's cool.
That's right.
That's good. Let's go. There's been years when we haven't dominated that dang cup. There's been years when we've been dominated. So I'd rather take this than that.
Yeah. And a lot of the factors into it was, sure, USC beach volleyball took down UCLA in the championship game. But you know what?
Bummer.
Wasn't a championship game, but UCLA took down USC at the Coliseum with their Heisman-winning trophy quarterback. UCLA took down
Old crying
USC
Caleb Williams
at USC. And the women's basketball team, they took down USC in a sold-out event this past season. So yeah, there were some body blows on both sides, but UCLA comes out on top.
All joking aside, what was
UCLA
basketball men's and women's record against the Trojans this year?
I think the men split 1-1. The women were the UCLA women's basketball team was 1-2. They split the season series, and then they lost in the Pac-12 championship.
That's what I'm saying.
Pac-12 tournament.
So is that so how does that score make sense, by the way? Not that I don't want to celebrate it, right? Because
Yeah, no doubt. I'm trying to look for it here. Well, each team, like for example, football played USC once. They got automatic 10 points. Men's water polo played USC 4 times, won 3 of those, and still got only 10 points for that. I guess if you come out, I guess it just depends on how that's broken up. Men's basketball, yeah, they split the series. So UCLA, USC got 5 points. UCLA got 5 points. USC wins 10 points for beating UCLA twice. It just depends per sport. But overall, UCLA has basically wiped the floor with USC, which is funny because there was a tweet from the What's Bruin Show Twitter. Not exactly sure who put it out there,
Bruins.
but a lot of people have been saying, especially in the last week with Calamoni, Twitter battles. People are saying that USC brought UCLA along, and I would say UCLA is holding their own in making a case for being a juggernaut to join the Big Ten. I'm just saying that's just my small town opinion, Jake. Just my opinion.
No, I totally get that, Mike, and I think it's justified. It's funny. I just counted up the cup wins that were in the UCLA press release, and it's like I think there was like 19 possible, 19 events, and the reason it was so lopsided this year was because UCLA outright won 11 of the 19, and then like one or two more UCLA and USC split the points. So that's why it was such a lopsided score. So pretty much, yeah, one of the only ones they lost was the women's basketball, and then they split men's basketball and all that stuff. So pretty good. Let's go Browns.
All I'm hearing are excuses, Jake. All I'm hearing are excuses.
Yeah, it's beautiful. So good. I love that. UCLA wins the Crosstown Cup over USC in record fashion is the headline, and that's a damn good opening headline, I think.
Go Bruins!
Exactly. Especially since, and we are going to have outside sources help us with this, but the UCLA softball team has made it to the Super Regional. And we're going to get more in depth with that in a little while, as well as actually just before we started recording, the women's golf team, they defeated Oregon 3-1, I believe. Thanks for the update, Jack Rosenfeld, up there in the Pacific Northwest, keeping tabs on everything for us. The Bruins are now in the national championship match against number 1 Stanford, who just took down USC. And this was, just quick backtrack. I believe this was the first time in women's golf NCAA tournament golf history that all the Final Four teams were from one conference, and that conference is the Pac-12. Now, Jake, tell me what's going to happen to the Pac-12 in a few weeks' time?
It's going bye-bye.
It's dead.
Yeah.
The Pac-12 is completely awesome in so many sports this year, dominating conferences, winning championships, and they're going to die. So, yeah, God, it's so ridiculous, all this thing. But anyway, so we're going to have some outside sources talk about that briefly.
Leo, the library guy, Mike. You can say his name. He's not Voldemort, pal.
Well, I know you like to introduce him. That dude's awesome. He goes above and beyond.
He does.
Now, that is an above and beyond caller right there.
Darn tootin'. Okay, so what else, Mike?
A piece that should be coming out on Wednesday. The Bill Connolly's SP Plus rankings.
Hi, bro.
Came out on Tuesday. These are his post-spring preseason rankings and takeaways.
Mm-hmm.
Your UCLA Bruins are number 26 in the nation.
What?
Personally? Yeah.
Go Bruins.
That is I'm not going to say generous. I'm not going to say I'm surprised. I do like Bill Connolly's SP Plus projections because despite the fact that they are harsh, they are fair. I think they're one of the most accurate advanced statistical analysis rankings that are out there. So, I mean, this is good. I mean, we've talked about how we think that UCLA is going to they're going to surprise some people, especially since a lot of people are picking UCLA and Deshaun Foster to be like maybe bottom 3 coach overall team in the Big Ten. And this just kind of counters that with, hey, they still have some production. They, have recruiting has increased because those are two of the three factors. He uses recruiting, returning production, which includes transfers, as well as recent history. Now, the recent history is a big question mark in this for UCLA because they're going from Chip Kelly, who was successful in the last 3 years, but it just wasn't working. And then they hired, obviously, Deshaun Foster, which there's a lot of it's a jovial time in Westwood right now, but is that going to translate to wins? We'll see in the fall. But right now, I'm kind of giddy about this. UCLA, their offense is ranked 51st in the nation in the SP Plus. Their defense is 27th, which I think is pretty interesting. And this one seems to be spot on. Special teams is 109th. Now, before I get your reaction, Jake, I also want to note that in the February SP Plus rankings, UCLA was 37th. So they've climbed 11 spots, and a lot of that has to do with transfer, the players that they're bringing in from the transfer portal. Jake,
and probably also,
what do you think about this?
Players that other teams lost in the transfer portal, right? I mean, both those things can be true. It's a little bit of shuffling.
Exactly.
As
we talked about last week, I think. Sorry, Jake, really quickly. I think what did I say? UCLA is like +5 in the transfer portal this year.
Mm-hmm.
They had 5 more players transfer in than out. So it was something like that. It wasn't great, but it wasn't, it wasn't negative. So anyway, sorry. Go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, look. I mean, some people are picking the Bruins to be very, very bad. I think that may be, just slotting them in there based on all the things that have changed for UCLA, including the fact they're going to a different conference and how everybody feels about, just the standard opinion about UCLA going to the Big Ten. But once again, there's so many unknowns here. I have no idea how it's going to turn out, but this is something that you could look at and say, well, it's better than this being bad. It's better than being 77th, right? But still, we don't really know because we don't know how it's going to work with Coach Bieniemy. We don't, as the offensive coordinator, we don't know how it's going to work with the defensive changes that have happened and them losing like their entire, all the guys that were big producers last year for the most part, and losing the guys they lost in the secondary and all that stuff, and losing their defensive coordinator from last year. So there's so many unknowns still. Like, it's like, okay, fine. And then when you tell me that when you break down the number, well, it's based on large part of them being 27th in defense. And we're like, well, the defense is probably the most likely thing to, well, I don't know about most likely, but it's a huge unknown at this point. And even if it is a decent defense next year or a good defense next year, it's probably going to be a much differently good defense, right? It's going to be good at different things, or it's going to have a change of emphasis probably because they just don't have the dudes that they have on the front line that they had last year. So that part of it's kind of like, who knows? That might be kind of a little bit of a shaky number based on what's departed. And then on offense, I think there's a good reason to believe that could be, but on the flip side, that could be much better than 51 based on, I think that they have the parts to have a good offense. It's just how are they going to put it together with the new coaching coordinating? And then the other part of it is, I really believe that special teams is going to be way better than 109th just because they actually brought in guys that can actually do special teams now, right? I mean, that's something that's going to be a lot better. How much that affects how good it is overall, who knows? But you definitely can see, different arguments for why all those numbers may not be, close to where they're going to be or exactly what they're going to be by the time we get into actually playing games. But once again, this is one of those things where it's like, well, who knows how Deshaun Foster's actually going to do once we play games? But right now he's doing everything right. He's not doing anything that's terrible. Everything is a positive sign, and this is just another positive sign. So, I'm still not, like I said, our good friend Desmond from the Slack channel is like 10-2 and bust. I still think he's a crazy man, and we love him for it. But it's a good thing, not a bad thing. But we still don't really know nothing.
Yeah, and I'm really trusting Connolly on this one. But it's also interesting to see. I actually have an article coming out which kind of leads into it. I'm going to look at the
Bro.
I'm going to compare UCLA stats to that of those of the Big Ten last season. And yes, there probably isn't that good of a correlation going into next season, as we just said, with a new scheme, coaching staff, all that stuff. But UCLA retains a lot of production, and if they can at most simulate that to an extent, that's going to be pretty good for them. Because last year, UCLA's offensive stats and defensive stats, actually, I don't think there was a single out of the 8 stats that I looked at: scoring, offensive defense, total offense defense, passing offense defense, and rushing offense defense. UCLA was in the top 5, I think, for all 8 of those categories if they were to be put in the Big Ten. And again, UCLA didn't play Big Ten schedules. They are completely different from last year. But I think it's both a good comparison to see what UCLA is capable of against this new conference and what they are going up against with all these individual teams. Because, we loosely, I did, I would pay attention to the Big Ten, but just to get deep into the statistics of like what each team is doing per game, per down, rushing, passing, you really do have to see how that matches up. But from a broad perspective, I just wanted to see how UCLA would possibly look going into the Big Ten. And obviously, a lot of this is spurred by a lot of people saying, oh, UCLA is going to win 3 games of the Big Ten next year. And we've said this for several months. That's just ludicrous because, yes, the Big Ten has some really, really, really good teams, but they also have some really, really, really bad teams, like every conference. So it's – go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, and that's something that I do think we should keep in mind. It's a really cliched opinion to say that, UCLA is coming in and they're going to be slotted into the bottom of the conference just because of all the things that have changed. However, is that still a possibility that could happen? Yeah. And if you told me that the Bruins are going to make, if you talked to me back when UCLA first hired Deshaun Foster, Chip Kelly had left in disgraceful fashion, and that was the state of the program, I would have said, yeah, that's a fairly likely scenario. But now that we've seen how they've kind of recovered from that and what they're pointing to, what they're starting to kind of put together now, every news story we get about how he's not screwing things up or trying to improve where they're at, and the guys that are coming back and the guys that have stayed there, I'm getting more and more towards the optimistic side that we're kind of sort of talking about. But still, just looking, that's the point you make about the Big Ten having some really obviously some national, some of the nation's best teams in it, but there's also a lot of teams that aren't that. And when I look at the Bruins schedule coming into this year, I do think that it really is, it could be a whole hell of a lot worse. I look at their schedule and I see 3 games, and unfortunately, but sorry for the Bruins, they happen to be 3 games right in a row early in the season, but only 3 games where it's like you have a really, really hard time seeing them getting wins in those games, borderline, gee whiz impossible. And that's the LSU stretch, in Death Valley, the hosting Oregon, and then the at Penn State game all back to back to back. Like that's going to be a tough stretch, and it would be a big upset if they got a win in any one of those. And so the bad thing about that is that means that the chalk for them will be starting 2 and 3, right? And that will once again kind of chill any sort of buzz that they're able to develop. However, there also is an opportunity there to, stay under the radar, get through those games, get through that stretch, and who knows how they do. I mean, the Bruins aren't going to plan on losing those games. I mean, the Bruins are going to plan on competing in those games, and we'll see how they do. But I'm saying as fans, we have to kind of expect.
Do more, Jake.
What's that?
Do more.
Yeah. I'm just saying, like, as fans, we should probably expect that they're going to be 2 and 3. But then coming out of that, I'm sorry, but Minnesota, at Rutgers, at Nebraska, Iowa, at Washington, SC, Fresno State, to there, I see a lot of opportunities to make some hay and to show your improvement and to really come together as a team if Foster, Bieniemy, all these guys have them pointing in the right direction. If, and I feel like this is a season where they can, kind of take their lumps, work out the kinks, get their things together early, and when the expectations are relatively low. I mean, no one's going to have high expectations with, games 3, 4, and 5 being Oregon, Penn State, LSU. But that's an opportunity for them to get better. And then that's an opportunity for them to really finish the season strong. Come into the Washington, USC, Fresno State game, peaking as well as they can peak. And then you really can head into the offseason with some real legitimate, sorts of goals and optimism and hey, I think they might have something here, right? That's kind of what I'm looking for out of next season.
Yeah. So that's just a little bit of some of the way too early
certainly
chatter. Yeah. So just really quickly,
hey, Mike, this is I have one other question for you. Getting to the stupid Calamoni discussion. Last week when it was all kind of breaking and we heard that it was going to be. Oh, hold on. Let me Calamoni.
Suck it, Cal.
The Calamoni discussion. At first they were hearing that the Berkeley president was recommending it was going to be 10 years for the whole 6 years of the TV contract left, and then. We were talking about how, they just set it in stone for 3 years at $10 million. And I kind of made the point that, that's good. I could see that much more than I could see the ridiculous number of $10 million a year. And then when I heard different other people talking about it, it was just kind of assumed that it was $10 million per year and that it was a very, very real possibility that it can continue year 4, 5, and 6 at the $10 million. Whereas when I read how it came out, I was like, it was more like it was front loaded at $30 million over 3 years. And then after that, there was a good chance that it would kind of go away. And then I look at the ESPN headline, it's committee votes to have UCLA's payments to Cal. But I look at other headlines it's still at $10 million. How did you read the disposition of it? Do you think it's more likely or less likely that UCLA's paying $10 million for the next 4, 5, 6, 7 years? Or it's going to be the $30 million up front and then, it's going to go away from there?
Well, that's the thing that a lot of people, I think, took as $30 million and we're done. It's no, it's $10 million for the next 3 years, and they will revisit the situation in 2027. So they could easily say, yeah, we're good. Or they could be like, yeah, no, we want to continue this. I don't know what the hell's going to happen at that point. Hey, hell, the Pac-12 might reform at that point, and Cal might go oh, hey, we're cool now, right? Or, Cal might just continue, and forgive me, Jamaal, just a scenario. Cal might just continue to suck ass in just
go Bears
in sports across the board. Although he hasn't had that much faith in the Cal athletic department, and he's been talking about that quite a bit. It just depends on what Cal wants to do. Are they going to put themselves out there to be a good product, or are they going to start to just rely on, little brother? Also I pissed off a lot of Cal people by saying that that analogy that Cal was a family member coming out of the woodwork to scrape some money out of a family member that has recently won the lottery.
Yeah, I almost got involved in that, but I decided not to. I don't like to tweet. But I was close.
But no, it's honestly, just going back to your original your question, we don't know. They're going to revisit it in 2027, so we have a lot. That's a lot of time to try to figure out what direction both programs are going in at that point.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, I was, I know we really don't know. I was just wondering if when you heard it, because I read it as kind of more likely that it goes away rather than continues going, but we really don't know. So let's cross our fingers and hope that the $30 million is enough. But all right, well, what other headlines you got, Mike? Keep going.
Last two. I know you don't like to talk about the basketball headlines, but there's some good basketball stuff here. Jake, there is handsome Mexican hair news the news right now. Yes.
The Jaime Jaquez?
One Mr. Jaquez, rookie for the Miami Heat, made the all-rookie NBA team. Thank you very much. First team.
Straight baller.
That hair just flows, dude. That is just genius.
Yeah.
Not only did he wow the nation with his speech at the White House a few years ago for Cinco de Mayo, but also just breaking hearts, from coast to coast. And yeah, I believe he's the 14th Miami Heat rookie to make the all rookie team. So congrats to him. And again, you know what's so funny is like I especially with Twitter, I have my opinions, but I try to put just out the information.
What?
But it's social media.
That doesn't sound like you.
So
that's not an accurate description of you, Mike. Let's just please. I'm gonna call you out on that one. Oh, I'm Mike. Just the facts. Like Joe Friday. Mike Friday.
Look, I give people know when I give the
that
facts.
Could be the most untruthful statement you've ever uttered on the What's Bruin show.
Jacob.
You know what that deserves? That deserves where is it? It deserves one of these.
Sounds rumpy pumpy.
But anyways, what's the point you want to make?
It's not your decision, Mark. It's not up to you, right? It's right. It's Look, Jake. There's a time to be truthful and a time to put people in their place.
Turn.
Anyway, God, I forgot what I was going to say.
So did I. You're talking about Twitter. Saying something on Twitter.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't care at this point. But oh no, that was the thing.
Yeah.
So I just put out that Jaime Jaquez has made the NBA All First Team, and sure enough, maybe 20 replies to that tweet. A good 8 of them were like, "Yeah, thanks a lot, Lakers. Thanks a lot, Pelinka.
Oh yeah,
could have had it."
Oh, absolutely. That's my first thought. It's like, oh yeah, you could have drafted him, and then he went the very next pick, and yeah, great, stay hot. You know, no, I wholeheartedly agree with that sentiment.
Became a baller, man.
I'm so mad.
Oh, and shout out to the bro who requested us sending the
Hi, bro.
The sound bites. Just a baller.
He never emailed
I don't want to
me.
give out names or accounts, but we'll get to that, Jake.
All right.
But yeah, someone requested us to send them the drop of he's just a baller, man. And respect.
Baller, man.
What else? Lastly, 24/7 Sports put out their power rankings of Big Ten men's basketball for next season. And Jake, where do you think UCLA landed?
How many teams are in the Big Ten?
18.
18 teams in the Big Ten. Gee whiz. Yeah, I don't know, Mike. What do you think? 4, 5, 6, somewhere. Somewhere.
Number 1, baby.
What? Oh, that's awesome, dude.
Yeah.
Hold on.
I like UCLA to win the game.
That's right. Let's go. Number 1.
That's a hell of a statement to, and especially if UCLA does that, they come into a new conference, one where they have to travel more than I'll put USC with that, but those two teams are probably going to be traveling the most. I should actually look into that. Who's going to travel the most?
I mean, Oregon and Washington too, right? I mean, they're all in dire straits when that comes to that.
Yeah, but they have a straight line where UCLA has to go diagonal.
That is true.
Pythagorean's theorem and all that crap. But that's a pretty baller statement to put UCLA as the current number 1 in the power rankings. But they're.
You said that's 24/7 doing that?
I still look at, huh?
That's 24/7 doing that?
Yeah.
Hi, bro.
I still look at what Mick Cronin brought in. It's like, damn, dude. A year ago, everyone was like, we'll be fine. And now it's like, I don't know if we're going to be fine, but there's a lot more confidence. And that's what a good recruiting effort does. Chip Kelly. So just Cronin really putting in the time and effort. Deshaun Foster putting in the time and effort. Men of Westwood putting in the time of effort. NIL recruiting. UCLA, there's no reason why UCLA should not be a top team, a top 25 team, if not top 10 team in every sport in the next 10 years.
Here.
I said it.
Yeah,
I said it.
Well, they should. So let's go. Let's go, Bruins.
But that's what I got, Jake. That's basically our headline show for this midsummer or early summer episode.
That's very good. And yeah, no, I agree with you wholeheartedly, Mike. UCLA is in a position to thrive, and now they should thrive.
I was actively rooting for UCLA today, and it makes me feel dirty.
Make Alicia feel more dirty. That's my vote. Let's go. Okay, Mike. Well, you know what? I'm going to put you on hold for a minute. We're going to get to some other business and get to Leo, the library guys, update on the non-revenue sports, and then we'll get to what's brewing with you, and we'll shut this thing down for the week. How about that?
Let's do it.
Hey guys, it's Leo from the library. Hopefully I can get in a quick call for you guys record today. So I'll get the quick bad news out of the way first, is that women's tennis lost last week in the quarterfinals of the championships. So they're out. In the individual competition, we only had 2 players, and they both lost in the first round. So we're down to one doubles team, our number 1 player and our number 4 player. They're the 13th ranked double teams in the nation. So hopefully they can cause some damage and win an individual championship for us. Oh, and then the other kind of weird thing that happened last week is that Selena Harris, who was our best gymnast last year, was dismissed from the team and is in the transfer portal, and that's kind of odd. So some sort of rule must have been broken, and it must have been a pretty severe one to get dismissed from the team, and that's kind of a shame. But you know what? We're going to be pretty loaded next year with a lot of people coming back and some freshmen and hopefully Jordan Childs. So we shall see. But it is a shame to lose her, and she seemed like such a cool person too. So who knows what happened? Anyway, on to the good news. Women's golf is in the middle of match play. They're in the semifinals of the championship against Oregon. Right now they're winning, and unless there's a complete collapse, I think we're going to be in the finals.
What's breaking news on a weekly basis?
News just in.
Yeah, I'll break in here with some breaking news. As Leo was talking about it, it actually happened. UCLA beats Oregon 3-1 in the semis. Thank you to Jack Rosenfeld for the update. We appreciate that on the Slack channel. And it looks like the finals will be at 2 p.m. Pacific tomorrow on the Golf Channel and on Peacock. The Bruins will take on the number 1 seed Stanford, as Leo's going to lay out right now.
And the other half of the bracket in the semifinals is Stanford and USC. So it's an all Pac-12 affair for the very last time. So it'll be interesting to see. Hopefully we can pull it out against Oregon here and then hopefully beat down either Stanford or USC in the final. But really the big news this weekend is the softball. We didn't cruise, but we 2 out of the 3 games we've run ruled Grand Canyon in our first game, and then in the regional final by a score of 9-0 in the first game and 9-1 in the final. And then our kind of the regional semifinal game against Virginia Tech was the tough one because we were down 4-0 early, and then had to kind of just chip away at the lead, and then we finally took the lead, and I got cut off. Anyway, real quick about softball, I want to say that we look good. Unlike in the past when we've had a dominant pitcher, I think our offense has kind of complemented our pitching because we had Rachel Garcia and then Megan Faramo, and they'd kind of they'd hold the fort, on the pitching side and really keep the other team down. And then our offense, whatever it was in that particular game, would either, help us dominate or just squeeze out enough runs to win. But now I feel like we're more offensive oriented, at least this year. And then our pitching, they complement the hitting, and they pitch either just well enough to win or they go out and have a great game, and then which allows our offense to dominate. Yeah, so that's the thing. Softball looks good. They have a good chance as any to win the championship. I'm looking forward to the Georgia Super Regional. Georgia kind of struggles in their Super Regional, but each series is it's a whole new kind of ball game, and we'll see who shows up. But I think we're going to really show up. We're going to really show up, and everyone kind of looks dialed in. Kind of I'm really excited about the games this weekend, and just a real quick splitting of hairs with Mike. The Women's College World Series isn't the entire tournament. It's just the D1 softball tournament. The first round are the 16 mini tournaments, the regionals, and then to whittle down the 16 teams, and the round of 16 is the regionals, and then the 8-team championship tournament. that's the Women's College World Series. Anyway, because in baseball, the World Series is, the AL champion and the NL champion. So you have the championship series. So kind of like that. Anyway, all right. I'll talk to you guys later. Thanks. Bye.
Yeah, suck it, Mike. Okay, Mikey, we're back, and once again, thanks to Leo, the library guy, for putting in the time for that. The sound on that when I pop in is actually a little bit weird. It's because when he sends me the files, like he sends me, and then I record on them, it puts it on like the voicemail voice. So I don't know. I thought it sounds cool, but that's just part of recording it the way that I had to record it. But anywho, Mike, let's get to Bill's favorite part of the show. What's brewing with you?
What's brewing with you? You asked me. What's brewing with me? Yeah. What's brewing with you? What's brewing with me? What's brewing with you?
Mikey, talk to me. What's wrong with you, buddy?
Just a busy ass weekend. I have an 8th grader who's doing commencements and all that, and going into high school next year. So, the weekend started on Friday, in which my daughter Poppy had 2 roles in the Pasadena Christian School production of Beauty and the Beast, and she killed it.
Let's go, Poppy.
My son Hugo was part of the chorus for it and just did an absolutely stuffly job. And although she was a late addition, my daughter Violet was added to the crew and helped out with and smoke machines, especially during the transitions, which were pretty funny.
Nice. What did Poppy play?
But she played one of the aristocrats and one of the villagers.
Very good.
So she was one of the people that were walking around with their nose in the air at the beginning of the play, and one of the people that wanted to absolutely gut the beast because he was different.
Hey, who doesn't?
We've all known that.
Yes.
Give native land back. I'm just kidding. Anyway,
if you do a land acknowledgement, Mike, I will shut this feed down.
Jake, the real Americans are suffering. I'm telling you. The earlier in the week,
and our students are LARPing.
My
Mike.
daughter, huh?
Yeah, I said and our students are LARPing. What are we gonna do? All right, let's go.
Dude, there's a Renaissance Fair going on right now. We gotta go.
I know. Oh wait,
dude. What's Bruin Renaissance Fair?
Molly and her girlfriend just went yesterday, or two. I'm sorry, not yesterday. No, Molly and a couple of her high school friends just went over the weekend last weekend. They had fun.
Yeah, I haven't been to one in a while, and they are pretty fun. First time I actually shot a bow and arrow proper, not this plastic crap that the Rambo sets that you get at the 99-cent store, and they're kind of like cool with suction cups. No, this was an actual arrow into a bale of hay. It was amazing.
That's good.
Anyway, I'm off track.
Sorry.
Violet got accepted to Maranatha High School in Pasadena, which is a pretty freaking sweet high school. And she tried out for both the dance company and the junior cheerleading squad and made freaking both of them, Jake.
Oh, even better.
Proud dad. Killing it.
Straight baller.
Good job.
Totally killing it. And I'm also like teaching her like some kung fu too. So she has like some sweet moves in that aspect too. So she's just gonna be like an all around baller.
Teaching her kung fu.
Such a weird
Mike, are you a kung fu master? Is that what you're trying to tell me? Is this like Napoleon Dynamite teaching Kip kung fu?
No, but you pass down what you know.
Rex Kwon Do. Are you teaching your kids Rex Kwon Do? Mike Kwon Do?
Rex Kwon Do. What did you do? What did you do? Block it, slap in the face. Block it, slap in the face. All right, sit down.
Oh my God. This is amazing. It's priceless. All right. Sorry, Mike.
I forgot about it. No, I'm just a very proud dad. And,
yes, of course you are.
Yeah, but I'm also a very exhausted dad because, as you know, you used to work in the educational system, and as I still do, and I'm just absolutely wrecked with graduations and commencements and all this stuff.
Busy time of year.
God, dude, I cannot wait for spring break. I need to sleep. I need to sleep, Jake. Jake, what's brewing with you?
I got a couple things for you, so bear with me, Mike. Number one, just to come back on a watch this show.
Watch this show.
And that's just to point out that I started watching a show called Bodkin. I think it's on Netflix, and I highly recommend the first 2 episodes I saw. I haven't watched any more since then. But I forgot to mention it's one of the ones that's produced by Barack and Michelle Obama's production company. So I thought that was kind of weird. You watch the opening credits, and all of a sudden it's like produced by Barack and Michelle Obama. So that was kind of funny. Just as a little side note, Bodkin, it was pretty funny though. It's like an Irish version of Only Murders in the Building. Number 2, I gotta play this after a trip to Nashville. My first thought coming back was,
the government totally sucks, you motherfucker. The government totally sucks.
and I'll just say this, I'll detail my trip to Nashville a little bit more in a minute, but driving around Nashville, I was just struck by gee whiz, parking, very easy. And you just scan a barcode, and that's something that you get like even in the Bay Area. LA doesn't know how to do parking. They never have. And God knows they never will. It's always out. All the equipment's outdated. It sucks. Traffic in Nashville. Obviously, it's a much smaller city, but driving around Nashville, I got to the airport in freaking 10 minutes and driving all over town. It was just fine. Get back to LA immediately on a Sunday afternoon. I'm stuck in traffic all the way from Long Beach to the North Valley. And it's like completely purposeless. Most of it was idiot looky-loo traffic on the 405. Gas prices in Nashville. Mike, how much did you pay for your gas in your car this week that you can remember?
This morning, $4.99.
It's $4.99, right? In the last month, it got as high as $6 in some places, and it was probably the average somewhere in the neighborhood of like $5.25 to $5.50. You know what gas is in Nashville right now, Mikey? Like
$2.75,
$3.49. No, more than what you're saying, but like $3.49. Why in the world would 2 places in the goddamn United States of America have that big of a disparity in how much the price of gas is? Oh, I don't know. Does it have anything to do with the local government? Yeah, I think it probably does. Also, homeless in Nashville.
Jake,
go ahead, Mike.
I will say it is greed, but it's the oil companies. It's not the government per se.
How can it be the oil companies when the oil companies they're charging a lower rate to Nashville than they are to California? I don't know if that.
Yeah.
Or whatever. I don't want to get into.
Why would you not give sell your product for more in a place where there's more demand than a place where it's like, oh, you want gas? Okay, I guess we have it. Go ahead. It's greed, Jake.
I don't know, Mike. I kind of feel like it has to do with the taxes and whatnot. But anywho, the last point of the government totally sucks.
The government totally sucks, you motherfucker. The government totally sucks.
You know what I didn't see driving around Nashville? I got around quite a bit of the city. Flopped out homeless people all over the place, even in the very heart of their city. Were there hobos? Yeah. Were they like flopped out on couches in front of 7-Elevens and whatnot with shanty homes and things? No, they weren't. And I'm pretty sure that's a product of a local government doing their job a little bit better than ours too, Mike. So I'm sorry. That's my first part of my What's Brewing. The government totally sucks. Secondly, Mike, have you ever been to the South during the raining of the cicadas?
No, but I've heard that thing is wild right now.
Bro, I have a little bit of sound. I'm not sure if it'll come out, but I'm going to try to play it. And this was as soon as I showed up where we were going to play our game, which is right by the University of Vanderbilt. I hear this humming, and I'm like, dude, what is that? And I'm driving around, and I start seeing these big-ass beetles flying all over the place. I'm like, holy shit, did I end up in the South while the cicadas are going off? And sure enough, I was in the South while the cicadas are going off. So I don't know if this is going to play, but I'm going to try it. If not, I'm going to insert it a little bit later. But this is what what I was hearing. Mike, it was just really, really cool. And, you fly through these kind of like, I don't know, these giant clouds of these, beetles, and they burrow on the ground for 17 years and then come out and make all this noise. And it was like kind of it was only during the afternoon that they were really making a whole bunch of noise. But when they started making it, was like, oh my gosh, we actually played our game, and the sounds of the cicadas were present there.
Nice.
It was really kind of neat. I was really worried a player was actually going to eat a cicada, honestly, because they were flying around kind of randomly. They kind of like bump into you and stuff. I actually had to keep score for the game, because we didn't have a score. But I'll tell you why that was in a minute. But every once in a while I'd have a cicada like landing on my chest or shoulder or whatever, and I have to like kind of shoo it away. Apparently they won't bite you, but get this, they can pierce you, right? Like, what? I guess they have like a proboscis or something. They can like shoot it right into your skin. But luckily I escaped unscathed, and I don't think any players ate any cicadas. The reason I was in Nashville was because the Grizzlies played the Roanoke Rampage in Nashville for a neutral site game. This was supposed to be hosted by the Roanoke Rampage. A lot of things kind of fell apart for them. The field that they originally booked for us was a horrible, horrible place to play a football game, and it wasn't even marked for football by the time it got said and done. At the last minute, we organized our practice beforehand to be on the Vanderbilt practice field, which is really kind of fun because it's like right behind our hotel.
Oh, that's cool.
So it was really neat. We got to go into their practice field. And so like when we talked to the Roanoke administration about that, and we're talking about the field we were going to play on, which looked like miserable, we decided to try to get a hold of Vanderbilt, and they did. They reached out, and Vanderbilt decided to let us play our game on their practice field, which is pretty kind of cool. It was awesome. So we didn't have a scoreboard, we didn't have announcers, we didn't have anything like that. But then again, we weren't going to have that shit at the horrible field they booked in the first place. But we got to play in this really cool venue. I'll put some pictures on the Substack to show that. And then the only funny thing about it was, Mike, is that it was a 90-yard field with an upright only on one end. So when somebody scored, if they were going the wrong way, we had to turn around and go the other way. And the stats in the game were actually it really didn't come into effect because there was no drives that were more than 90 yards, so it really was kind of, although, you had 10 fewer yards to go if you're pointing in the one direction as opposed to the other. But it was just kind of a weird, unique. It was like a unique game. And then it was made even more unique, Mike. In the third quarter, we had to delay the game because of possible lightning, right? So instead of waiting around for an hour for that to pass and the requisite time to pass, Vanderbilt's administration allowed us to go into their indoor facility, which is a practice field with a indoor track around it. And we got to play the final quarter, basically the final quarter of the game, on the indoor facility, which was really kind of cool. Like, it was weird. We had to pause the game. There was a long walk, but it was, it was really a fun experience. And once again, I'll put some pictures of that up on the site.
Where have you ever heard of a game that changed locations in the middle of the game?
Mike, the National Public Safety Football League, right? It's a little janky, right? But we get it done, right? That's pretty much what it was. Yeah. So, there was a real concern that, we had to, try to get the players warmed up, going from place to place, and all that stuff. But couldn't be more thankful to Vanderbilt Athletics. And
how's that? Go Commodores.
Yeah, it was awesome. Anchor down, right? It was awesome. And I got some great pictures out of it, and we got a great experience. Now, the only bad part about it was, did we win the game? We did not win the game. Your Los Angeles Grizzlies are now 0-3 on the season. We have one more game left. It's on June 1st. We're playing our rivals, the LAPD, the Centurions, and hopefully we beat them. They lost a big game themselves, so we have a chance to finish the season with a win, God willing. But come out to Walnut High School on June 1st at 2 p.m. to watch us play the Centurions. Malcolm might be the first down kid, along with, actually, maybe it might be Malcolm and the twins might be the chain crew for the game. I'm trying to get Suzanne to agree to that, but we'll see how that goes. But anywho,
I have 3 kids that if needed might be on call. So.
Oh, Mikey, this might be in the future. The Regalado,
let me know.
The Regalado kids might be the chain crew at one of these Grizzly games. That'll be fun. But overall in Nashville, I had to go a day later because of weather delays. When I got there, Southwest Airlines had lost my luggage, even though it was a direct flight, which I don't know how that works. They did find it that day, which I was very thankful for, and they gave me a voucher for my trouble. So I have really no complaints about how they handled it, but it still was, like I said, it just kind of it impacted my trip for sure, to where I was like dead tired by the time Friday night came along. So I didn't really do anything Friday night. And then Saturday comes, we have to deal with the game. And then Saturday night comes and I'm dead tired from everything that's happened. So I didn't really go out Saturday night either. I went to Nashville. I did not see anyone perform any music live, which is like, seems like sacrilege. And I barely had anything to drink at all. I ended up, in a Holiday Inn kind of conference room lounge with the coaching staff, and our head coach passed out at like 11:15. So that's what kind of partying we did. It wasn't a super big party, but still, other than losing the game, it was a fun trip, all in all. And I'm sorry, I know I'm just talking, going on and on, but I had a lot, like I said. The other last thing to say is, Mike, I started this with a rant about how the government totally sucks, but I will say this. Driving around Nashville in a rented Dodge Ram truck, puddling around, vrooming around, playing some music,
Jake,
and just looking at the trees.
In this pickup truck?
I kind of was liking the feeling, Mike. It kind of was a good feeling. I mean, I don't know. Maybe
Bill.
Tennessee, North Carolina. The first thing I did, I called Bill from the truck, and I'm like, Bill, I'm driving around a Dodge Ram, this kind of car he owns. And I'm driving around the South, and I kind of feel at home, brother. And he's like, yeah, it's a good feeling. So yeah, we got that going for us. So I don't know, maybe
a lot is explained, Jake. A lot has been explained.
The What's Bruin show may relocate to the southern states at some point. We'll see. Mike,
The hell it
might have
will.
to drag you with me. Might have to drag you with me, Mike. We'll see. All right.
Hell it will.
Mikey, this has been fun.
Well played, Jake. Well played.
Thank you very much. This has been fun. Next week, we'll see what's going on. We got a couple things to line up, but we'll have some for you next week, I'm sure. And you got anything else, Mikey?
Nope, I'm good.
Well, until next time then, Mike, what do we say?
Go Bruins.
Good evening.
Smoke 'em if you got 'em.
That was the What's Bruin Show.
Try us tomorrow. Same bat time, same bat channel.
It's gotta be in or out, Mom. In or out. Well, I need the door closed.
Thank you for your cooperation.
Dude, bro, we play some ball on the West Coast.
The final word is boob.